science. And I'll start, actually, Dr. I'll just pick up from your answer there. A lot has been directed towards the paper that you wrote and the research that went into that. Does the science since the paper came out strengthen your argument or weaken it? What does the science show?
It absolutely strengthens it. I mean, we published a series of papers after the proximal origins paper, all of them, conclusively moving towards the natural origin hypothesis. So nothing, we stand by that paper. It was a good paper.
We're currently seeing enormous changes in technology in the biological sciences, from artificial intelligence to biological design tools, even robot laboratories where experiments can be conducted from really anywhere on the globe. Dr. Koblenz, my question for you is, in your opinion, will these types of technological changes make it easier or harder for us to determine the origins of future pandemics?
The advances you just discussed will definitely make it more complicated to do that. On the one hand, we are going to have much more sophisticated capabilities to analyze viral genomes and do the kind of analyses that are some of the feature of Dr. Gary's work to understand the evolution of these pathogens and where they come from. And so that will be incredibly useful investigating any future outbreak. On the other hand, the fact that these technologies are going to be globally diffused, the fact that there are a growing number of high and maximum containment laboratories that conduct high consequence research will make it a more complicated process, because there will be more potential sources for outbreaks, whether they're naturally occurring or from laboratories. So the technologies are not a net negative, but they're not a panacea. But it's definitely going to be a much more complicated endeavor to go through this exercise in the future.
Very good. Dr. Quay, a question for you. We know the U.S. intelligence community has reported that a few scientists at the Wuhan lab got sick in December, the fall of 2019. But it's not clear that any of them had COVID-19. So my question for you, sir, is what evidence do we have that someone at the Wuhan lab got COVID-19 before anyone else did? And do you know if these scientists actually got tested for COVID-19?
No, I don't. All of my data around that relies on the State Department statement. There were 3 individuals. We believe we know one of them, at least Ben Hu, was responsible for some of the synthetic work in the laboratory. Reasonably young person who was hospitalized, who is said to have been hospitalized with a X-ray confirmed disease consistent with COVID-19, but not blood testing. We do know also that in March of 2020, Dr. Shi reported that no one at the Wuhan Institute of Virology had SARS-CoV-2. And with another individual, we did a statistical analysis of the probability of that with the incidence in Wuhan, and that is not a truthful statement because of that. So those are the 2 facts I have.
Dr. Gary, you want to respond?
Senator Peters, could I read from the Intelligence Committee, the Director of Office of National Intelligence, about these 3 supposed sick workers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology? And they write, while several WIV researchers fell mildly ill in fall 2019, they experienced a range of symptoms consistent with colds or allergies with accompanying symptoms typically not associated with COVID-19, and some of them were confirmed to have been sick with other illnesses unrelated to COVID-19. So the 3 sick workers at the WIV is simply a myth.
Dr. Quay, what specific hard evidence proves that the Wuhan lab did experiments that created the virus? Do we have specific hard evidence?
No, one of our biggest challenges is we don't know what they've done inside there. We know what they were doing in the past. We know what they did in the fall of 2019, all consistent with the things you would do if there had been a laboratory accident there. Filing a patent, the first patent out of 600 patents for a device to prevent a coronavirus infection in an infected worker. One of the inventors on that patent is a PLA military doctor scientist. The head of the laboratory was dismissed, and a PLA soldier was put in charge of the laboratory December 2019. So we don't have access inside the laboratory. We probably will never have it. but the genome inside the virus comports to the diffuse grant in such a way that it's inconsistent. I mean, in a court of law, you find someone criminally for 95% or greater probabilities, and this is 1 in a billion, which is greater than that this is a synthetic virus.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I mean, a lot of these are assumptions that you're making, not hard evidence.
The hard evidence is the incidence of the features of SARS-CoV-2 can individually be looked at in nature. They can be identified with the frequency in nature, and then you can say, what is the chance that each of these were combined in one virus at the same time? This is what virologists do all the time in looking for origins. And when you do that, you conclude that it has a 1 in a billion chance of coming from nature, and it meets all 7 criteria of the diffuse grant.
Okay, thank you. Ranking Member Paul, you're recognized for questions.